was 14 when the doors of the cattle car slammed open. The air outside was colder than anything I had ever known, but it wasn't the chill that made my bones shake. It was the silence that followed. Hundreds of us spilled out, children, mothers, old men, and yet the world was hushed, as if holding its breath. Only the crackle of the guards' boots and the distant rumble of furnaces broke the stillness. And then I saw him. He did not shout like the others. He did not push or curse. He simply stood there, coat pressed, boots gleaming, his hair neatly parted. He could have been a professor, a man of culture. His smile was soft, almost reassuring, and for a moment, just a moment, I believed we might be safe. That was Josef Mengele. They called him Der Todesengel, the angel of death. To some, he was the charming doctor with neatly parted hair and gloved hands. To those who survived, he was the figure who pointed left or right, life or death, with nothing more than a flick of his wrist. Mothers clutched children tighter when his shadow approached, for that single gesture could separate them forever. He stood like a judge at the gates of hell. Smoke thickened the air as families stumbled out, eyes wide with terror. He raised his hand, gloved in black, and with the gentlest motion, he began to sort us. One side to labor, the other to the chimneys. The mothers cried when he separated them from their children, but their screams were nothing more than background noise. When his gaze fell on my brother and me, something lit in his eyes. "Zwilling?" he asked. Twins, we nodded, trembling. His smile deepened, as if he had just discovered a rare jewel. "Send them to me," he said, and we were pulled from the line, spared from the gas, then took us to barracks. The barracks where he took us smelled of bleach and sickness. There were tables lined with silver instruments, notebooks stacked high, jars filled with things I did not want to recognize. My brother clutched my hand so tightly that I felt his nails dig into my skin. The experiments began with measurements. Endless measurements, our skulls, our limbs, our eyes. Then came the injections. He never told us what they were. Sometimes the liquid burned as if fire ran through our veins. Sometimes it left us weak and unable to move. Once they injected dye into my brother's eyes, his screams echoing off the walls as they tried to make blue what God had made brown. Mengele watched calmly, pen scratching notes, humming softly to himself like a man writing poetry. Inside his laboratory, the walls held secrets no human should ever know. They took blood from us again and again until we were faint. Needles pierced eyes, searching for ways to change their color. Twins were measured, injected, and cut open. Bones were broken to study their healing. Some children were sewn together, their tiny bodies turned into grotesque experiments. Few survived. But it was not the needles that broke us. It was his presence. He would lean close, inspecting us like a collector studies butterflies. His voice was calm, gentle even, and that made it worse. How could someone speak so kindly while destroying children? That smile, it was not the smile of a man. It was the mask of a predator. At night, we whispered in the dark. Children asked each other, "Will it be me tomorrow?" Some cried for their mothers. Others stared blankly, their eyes already hollow. We learned quickly not to speak too loudly. The walls had ears and guards punished those who made noise. But still, the rumors spread. Twins who vanished, children who never returned from the lab. We began to count who was missing. The numbers grew. Once I saw a stretcher carried out of the lab. 2 small bodies lay beneath a sheet. The guards did not speak. The silence said enough. My brother whispered to me one night, "What if it is us next?" I squeezed his hand and told him we would survive. But inside I was not so sure. Each morning we woke was a miracle. Each night we fell asleep was a gamble. One by one, the others disappeared. Some wasted away from sickness. Others bled out in the lab. I watched children younger than me die with their eyes wide open, too shocked to even scream. My brother grew weaker with each experiment. His skin grew pale, his body frail. He tried to hide it from me, forcing a smile, but I could see the truth. The injections were destroying him. The guilt was unbearable. Why was I still alive when so many were not? Survival itself became a wound, one that never healed. Then the end came suddenly. The guards grew restless. The chimneys burned less. Rumors spread the Russians are coming. One morning, the camp was chaos. Soldiers fled, leaving behind rifles and dogs. We huddled in our barracks, too weak to run, too afraid to move. Then, through the gates, they came soldiers not in black uniforms, but in green. The Russians. I remember the disbelief on their faces when they saw us. They expected prisoners, but not children so thin, so broken, so scarred. One soldier dropped his rifle and wept openly. But freedom was hollow. My brother did not survive the final days. I held his hand until it grew cold. When the soldiers carried me out, I felt as though half of me had been buried in Auschwitz. After the war, Mengele was gone. Like a shadow in the smoke, he vanished before justice could claim him. For decades, his name haunted the survivors. We whispered rumors he was in Argentina, some said. Others swore he was in Paraguay or Brazil. He became a ghost, always a step ahead, living freely while we carried the scars of his hand. But he later died on a beach in Brazil, the sea swallowing him before any court could. They called him the Angel of Death, but to me, he was something worse. A man who proved that evil does not always roar or bare its teeth. Sometimes it smiles.